Hey, welcome to Heart, and we have some special guests with us today. We have Roxanne and Hannah Packham. Which one's Roxanne?
Roxanne. That's me.
Hannah, how you doing, Hannah?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
That's your first test.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. We're excited you guys are here today.
Thanks. We're glad to be here.
Well, cool. Hey, now you guys have created a project, I believe, called it's called Inspire 31.
Right.
Pretty cool name. To me, I'm like a big science fiction. I think it sounds like a spaceship name. This is Inspire 31. Go ahead.
God.
It sounds like I go there all the time. Star Wars stuff. You have to get used to me. But what is Inspire 31? Would you tell the home audience, please?
Yeah. Inspired means inspired by God to find and follow God's path for your life. And 31 is with the background of Proverbs 31. And then we use Philippians 4:8 is kind of as our main verse, which is teaching teenage girls how to have a filter of what's pure and excellent and praiseworthy to kind of have as their lens for looking at life.
Okay, so what inspired you to come up with Inspired 31?
I guess what inspired us was the book. We wrote a book called Inspired Design together.
Ta-da! Okay. Here's the book.
Okay, so this was, you do this, I mean, because not everybody can just put a book of
Right, I'm an interior
decorations
designer,
together.
and Hannah's pretty naturally talented. Our family's history is sort of design, and that actually was my grandfather Alan Adler was a pretty renowned silversmith, and that happens to be his house in the introduction.
How about that?
neat.
Yeah,
Okay.
and his silver on there.
As you talk, I'll just kind of keep
Okay,
flipping. We'll
yeah,
get some
flip
clips
it.
here. Yeah, you just keep talking. I'll just keep slowly flipping through here.
Because this is really about us here, and then he'll be with the picture book.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So that's why we did the book, is to give hospitality hints to mothers, women everywhere. And then lots of friends of ours, mothers and teenage daughters, thought it seemed like such a great project that they sort of had an interest in a group. So we started Inspired 31.
Okay, so then what happens is this like an event that takes place?
6 times a year
Okay.
during the school year for the most part. We have a casual afternoon tea that teenage girls kind of came up with that idea. And we have different speakers. We have 6 different speakers. We had Chelsea Cameron one time, Dana Gresh, Susie Schellenberger, and we want the teenage girls to see different kinds of vibrant Christian women living out a life that's glorifying to God, using all their different gifts and talents, so that teenage girls know that there's not just one kind of vibrant, amazing kind of woman. That there's
Like Britney Spears or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now is this a foundation?
It's a 501c3.
Okay, it
it's
is.
it's a charitable
nonprofit.
corporation, right?
Okay.
And Hannah can tell you about the orphanage that the money goes to. But first, all the money from the book goes straight to Inspired 31, so
Okay.
that because it's a free group.
Inspired 31 goes to Inspired Design.
Okay, yeah. Well, the money that we raise from the book goes to the group.
Okay, so this is your only way of fundraising.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
in your events, you don't take the proceeds from
Well,
there
we do.
to-
We sometimes will take an offering, and then
Okay.
that does go towards there. But we try to offer it free for everybody, so that any kind of mother and daughter combination from any area can come and
Okay.
take part in it.
Okay, so you're going to tell us about the orphanage?
Yeah, Inspired Design, the profits from the book go to Heart of Hope Ministries in Romania, which I've gone to help with twice. We actually did a mission trip with Oaks Christian School last year, and they pretty much help orphans in poor villages and orphanages to find God, and they minister to them and help them in their different situations, because they go through different difficult situations
Right.
in their lives as either orphans or poverty. So they help with that, and the book, the money goes to that, and it helps them, and it's really cool.
Now, why Romania? What made you choose Romania?
Yeah.
My dad has gone there for like 17 years, and I've been there twice, and it's kind of a family ministry that we love.
Got it. Okay, great.
So now, was it started by someone in your family, or is it your
no.
orphanage?
No, it's was started by a dear friend of ours that we met about 17 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And Scott and I went together before we had Hannah, And we just kind of fell in love with the kids there, and lots of them we kind of watched grow up and
Wow.
go
Right.
help
Now,
them
is it
through school.
babies to teenagers?
It was babies when we started because of Ceausescu and some of the history there, but now it's mostly older kids, and they transition from high school with, if they don't have parents, then when they're done with their equivalent to high school, they usually turn to prostitution or drugs. So we have halfway houses. One's called Home of Hope, and our friend Debbie Marshall runs that, and so we have great confidence in the way it's run as well, because the same people have run it for 18 years.
That's great. So now, okay, so getting back to the events, now, what is the feedback from like the girls your age? Do they like it? I mean, because a lot of times at this age, you're trying to separate from your mother. At least I know I was trying to separate from my mom. I love my mommy now. But back,
Like the mothership, going back to the Inspire 31
Yeah, here we
spaceship.
go
The
again.
mothership. Anyway, sorry.
But you know
Back
how
to
we,
Star Wars.
it just.
That's funny.
So anyway, how do the girls? I mean, are they like into this? Or are their moms dragging them?
I think sometimes at the beginning, some of the girls that are not on steering
Get
with me,
dragged.
get dragged at the beginning. Our hope is that most people will grow to like it, and the people that I've talked to at least do enjoy going, because you get different perspectives from different women who do anything from cake decorating. We have people in just like different medias. We have people like Debbie Marshall who work at orphanages or have
Right.
those types of ministries. So all different types of like venues, but they're all godly women who are following God's path for their life, and it's different, but it's all in His plan. So I think that helps, and the girls like to see the different ways that God can work.
Well, you've got a very special
Yes.
daughter here. I was just going to say,
Yes, I
how
do.
old are you? What are you, 14 years old?
No,
What?
she's 17.
17, my God.
You know, when you get older, you
She's
start
very well
losing
spoken
sight
for
of
14.
My point is, though, she's 14 or 17. I mean, so many 17-year-olds these days are just into the iPads.
That's what I said.
They're
yeah.
they're into,
Yeah.
the
Boys.
Boys. They're into getting away from
Well,
home. No, but it's inspiring to see some of your age want to do stuff like
Yes.
this. And I encourage all of you out there, all you parents, all you kids out there, if you see this, this is an example of what a 17-year-old should be. So I just want to let you guys know.
Oh, that's nice.
No offense to anybody out there, but this is what you guys should be. So
Oh,
keep
that's
going.
nice.
Sure, yeah.
So I want you to be best friends with my daughter. Our daughters go to the same school.
And are in the same photography
in the same
class.
photography class.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
because it's, you know what? Because, even though it's a Christian school, does not mean that everybody is a perfect citizen.
Right.
That's
you know,
for
I mean,
sure.
that's anywhere. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
Yeah.
that's why it's nice to have, some around that really do
It is.
really follow biblical principles.
Yeah, and I know that when I was in high school, I always wanted someone to kind of take me aside. I had a great family growing up, but I wanted somebody that was interesting and had like a neat job or something to kind of show me that it didn't have to look exactly like my mom, who is wonderful, but I
Right.
wanted to see, kind of different examples. So it's been a blessing, because some of the steering is set up as mother-daughter pairs. So it's not run by the mothers. It's in fact, the teenage girls, the first day they came on, they changed about 6 of the different ways we had, to run it. So I think that's why, we've had thousands of girls come in this first year. I think it's because the teenage girls were a little outspoken and
Well, the great thing is too. I mean, she's the daughter's a reflection of her mother. I mean,
Yeah.
praise God that you've been able to inspire her so well. I mean,
She'll be
how
sad on
many
the way
kids?
home.
But how many kids out there have a mom like you? I mean,
Oh, well,
it's
thank you.
it's really awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it really truly is. And I think the book is great. I mean, I want to. Is there something here I can use? Because I'm a cartoonist. I have a cartooning office. Could you do something like that for me? Or?
yes, yeah,
help
for
me
sure.
out?
A cartoony office. My husband will think that's quite funny when I get home.
Yeah.
You can do cartoony.
I have a
flatware.
collection
There
of
you
Star
go.
Wars lightsabers. Put it that way. I have 5 lightsabers on my wall.
And I
I'll
limit
have
it
to
to
think
one
that.
room.
yeah,
There you go.
Yeah,
It's
because
wonderful.
if he had his way,
Your
our
whole
house
house
would have
would
been
be-
full of
There's
like
Spider-Man
pinks and
statues. There's
greens and-
Superman stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys
That's
have a
funny.
real challenge.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's very. I'm very inspired by you. Very encouraged.
By the way,
you.
what is Proverbs 31? You never said what Proverbs 31 is.
Well, it's kind of the ideal scripture about what the ideal wife, mother. It isn't actually, I don't think, intimidating. It's more of kind of a goal of a great way to be. It's many verses, but it kind of gives us the backdrop for the female version of the household, and it does say that she works very hard. That's
Right.
just in whatever capacity God has for you for your life is
But she does need to be adorned in diamonds. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
cute.
let me ask you, in your experience, what problems do you think do you see that the teenage at this age, and the teenagers as a whole, really start to?
I think
face.
kind of the peer pressure thing, from my point of view, the peer pressure thing and trying to look like everybody else.
Yeah.
And, trying to have the same, in colleges, trying to apply to colleges, everybody wants a good looking application and everything. And what about, trying to be really unique in whatever you do? So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just, help them to, if you're a cartoonist, if you're a designer, if you're a sketch artist, a sports player, but not that everybody needs to be a great sports player, because that's just not what is kind of in the plan for everybody.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly, just to be unique and be
Right,
who
just
you
to
are.
be unique. And
Because that, God can't use everybody who's, well, he can
Right.
use everybody, but if everybody was in the sports,
Right.
then what would happen to cartoonists?
right.
Or dentists. We need
Or
dentists.
There you go.
Yes, or doctors, or lawyers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's really great. So what do you have coming up? What events do you have?
We have Susie Schellenberger is speaking. I'm not sure of the date.
April 17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's
she's
how old
a
you are,
mother.
17.
Yeah.
Right, got it. I'm making sure I got the number now.
There we
See?
go.
Right.
And it's she's a mother-daughter expert. So
Okay.
yeah.
Mother-daughter expert?
You know, that's
I know
not
that's
that
kind
I'm,
of a scary thought.
yeah, I
but-
know. I'm like, how do you become a mother-daughter expert? I mean,
It's a
I'm not
relationship.
one. She's the opposite of me.
does that mean that does she already have kids that have been grown? And
I'd assume so.
You would assume so, but
I
actually
hope
no.
so. I hope they're not 5 and 2.
No, she actually, I guess she's just a writer, and that's what she specializes in, and she has spoken to groups all over the country, and mothers and daughters just love her. I think it's because she's a great speaker on kind of embracing the fact that nobody's perfect, and that you
Right.
you kind of need to work with what you've got.
Sure.
Yeah.
In terms of a mother-daughter, but I don't think she's actually married or has children, so she just has gotten to be really well received from
Oh,
teenage
that's
girls.
great. Well, I would love to attend. with
Yeah.
that. Now, can I bring both my daughters?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not just the one daughter.
Right.
Okay, so now are your events now expanding throughout the U.S.? Is that a goal of yours?
There are different people. We went to a Women in Christian Media conference, and there are different people in like different states and even parts of California that have talked about starting a chapter. So we're looking into that, and
Oh, that's
there isn't
great.
yet, but I think there will be.
Right, over the next year, we have some in Minnesota, Virginia, Southern California.
Now, how long has this been going on? How
Only
what
a year. But we've
Only
just
a
had
year?
Just
When did the
thousands.
book come out?
The book came out about a year ago on Mother's
That's
Day,
great.
so not quite a year yet.
Well, that's awesome. And, this is what's great too is that I was just telling a friend of
Yeah,
mine
check
about
this out.
Heart to Heart,
Yeah.
and she said, you know what, I have somebody that you might want to talk to. So thank you, Sherry
Yeah.
Selinsky.
Yeah.
Sherry
Seriously.
Zerwinski.
But you guys did every single thing in here that we're looking at. You guys
We
said all
did.
these. They're
Yeah.
pretty
And you
awesome.
probably
That
know
is
some of the
really
people
awesome.
whose houses
Wow.
those are. That's my friend Karen's
That's
house.
great. Very colorful. So you go from you do the colorful, you do the high class
Oh, I love the
silvery
black
stuff.
liquor.
And actually,
this
throughout the
kind of
book,
thing?
it's actually the two you turn to are, I think, both Oak's parents. But
Wait, who's that right there?
the
Who's that in the book?
That's her.
That's her right there.
each chapter is kind of based on a different client and how
What's up?
how each house looks different. Just like each woman is created differently, each house is unique and should reflect the family that lives
Yeah,
Who's this right here? Who's that right there?
Yeah,
That's both of you guys.
that's
That's pretty nice,
very
man.
cool.
there.
Beautiful
It's in Ventura
stuff.
on the hillside.
You know what's great? It's always great to see somebody have a dream and then actually follow through with it. So many people talk about, I want to do this, I want to do this, and they never do it. You guys have done it. It's really, really
Well, plus,
exciting.
and she's seeing this at 17.
Now, wait a minute.
you know.
So, now why, just to sum it up real quick,
Yeah.
why should mother and daughters attend Inspire 31?
It's just a really neat way to interact with other mothers and daughters and get closer with your own mother or daughter when you're not.
Got it. Got it.
And
It's not for guys to go pick up mothers and daughters. No. We're not
But we
saying
do
that.
have a couple hanging around.
Oh, do you? All right. Maybe I can go then.
And just to listen to the different ways God has used different women to share His word and to go out into the world and just
Great.
different things.
And you know what, too, though? I was just thinking there are a lot of young teenagers that don't have mothers.
Yes.
So I'm sure that they can
We
grab
have
an
a-
aunt, or just a family friend. It doesn't have to be that.
And
the
we
blood,
actually
you
have
know.
some really neat women, friends of mine that don't have girls, they have boys, and they come to sit by or mentor a girl who doesn't have a mom,
Oh.
or maybe who comes by herself for one reason or another. So there's definitely room for everybody. We call it a group for teenage girls, mothers, and others, because we really want the others there. It isn't just for moms and teenage
If you threw
daughters.
Smothers Brothers in there too, you could throw that. Lots of other things.
Okay, we
Hey, now,
got
where do we buy the book? If I want to buy the book, where do I go?
Inspired31.org, and
Okay.
there's a little clip that says buy book. And we, of course, appreciate that because it adds up real fast and
Cool.
it goes real far in Romania. So.
Great.
Well, since we're running out of time, so we just say our foundation scripture today is the whole Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
Just read the whole
Proverbs
thing.
31. Read it.
Read the whole thing. And buy the book because, as we've talked about on the show, we have a foundation too. We know what it's like. We need you to buy the book and help them out.
There we go. Well, we'd
There you
appreciate
go.
that.
Okay.
Well, congrats, guys. Nice
Yes.
to meet you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
It was
coming on the
nice to
show.
meet you, too.
Well, from our heart to yours, this is Julianne and Butch Hartman, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us.